the Renaissance Humanities Glow-Up montage. A time when Europe woke up, dusted off its toga and said, let's get cultured, but beneath the shiny veneer of art, science and men with flowing robes is a world full of bizarre, untold stories that your textbook couldn't handle. Like, did you know the guy who invented double-entry bookkeeping thought he was writing a religious manuscript? Or that Renaissance doctors once tried to treat disease by reading horoscopes of the patient's urine? Yep, this isn't your high school history class, this is the Renaissance, the director's cut. So put on your velvet doublet and let's dive into 10 facts that prove the Renaissance was less refined age of reason and more meme-worthy fever dream. Okay, rewind a bit. Europe in the 1300s was not exactly the place you'd book a vacation. The Black Death had wiped out a third of the population. Feudalism was creaking like an old wooden cart, and the church was basically the Wi-Fi of the Middle Ages. Everyone depended on it, but nobody understood how it worked. But amidst all that gloom, something weird started happening. People in Italy started getting nostalgic for ancient Rome, which is wild because, honestly, their actual ruins were being used as goat stables. Anyway, these Italians, Florentines mostly, decided it was time for a reboot, a renaissance, not just in art, but in how humans thought about, well, being human. Suddenly, painters were dissecting corpses to get the muscles right. Philosophers were translating dusty Greek manuscripts while wearing eyeliner. Popes were commissioning naked ceiling art. And some bankers were so rich their sons could fail upward into cardinals. It was an explosion of creativity, but it wasn't all Da Vinci and Enlightenment. Behind the marble busts and divine proportions lurked some seriously strange truths, and that's where we're headed. Top 10 shocking Renaissance facts you've probably never heard. Number 10, the Renaissance started because of a tax loophole. Now, Florence's elite families weren't just art lovers, they were, well, tax avoiders. Patronage of public art was often, believe it or not, a legal way to dodge civic dues. So yes, some of the world's greatest paintings exist because rich guys, frankly, preferred a statue to an invoice. Number 9, magic wasn't fringe. It was curriculum. Forget Hogwarts. Real Renaissance scholars openly studied Hermetic magic. Giovanni Pico della Mirandola, the chap who wrote the manifesto of the Renaissance, genuinely believed Kabbalah, astrology, and angelology were absolutely essential for understanding God. Harvard who? Number 8, they thought you could weigh the soul. Physicians in Florence once tried to measure the soul's weight by recording a patient's mass at the moment of death. Spoiler alert, results were inconclusive, also, well, gross. So, here's a fascinating one. Luca Pacioli, often called the father of accounting, didn't just invent debits and credits, oh no. He actually believed that balance sheets were, in a way, reflections of divine symmetry. I mean, the Renaissance wasn't just about mixing art and science. It also blended math and mysticism in some rather unexpected ways. Now, get this. Perfumed scent beaks were already all the rage in 15th century Venice, and not because of the plague. Nope, people wore them to block out the stench of sin during Carnival. That's right, the whole beak mask aesthetic actually started out as party wear. Who would have thought? And here's another odd gem. In The Last Judgment, Michelangelo actually painted his own face onto the skin held by St. Bartholomew. Historians reckon this was his way of venting about how flayed he felt by all those papal commissions. Renaissance therapy, everyone. Number 4, they tried to recreate ancient Greek music, and well, it flopped. In their obsession with classical revival, Renaissance composers sort of guessed what Greek music might have sounded like. Turns out their guess was just wrong. They basically invented Baroque opera trying to reverse engineer ancient tunes. Oops. Number 3, Leonardo da Vinci's greatest invention, the to-do list. Yes, he drew flying machines and dissected corpses, but he also left behind over 7,000 to-do list entries. Some are pure genius, like describe the tongue of a woodpecker. Others are just, buy socks. Number 2, the Vatican had the first global intelligence network. The Renaissance popes didn't just send missionaries, they sent spies. Papal diplomats doubled as informants across Europe and Asia, reporting back in code. Think of it as the Renaissance version of the CIA, but with incense. So, here's the thing. They genuinely believed wine was, well, a learning tool. Philosophers like Marsilio Ficino would actually sip red wine infused with herbs and get this gold flakes before their lectures. They claimed it opened divine channels. Basically, they were microdosing on Merlot and calling it education. The Renaissance gave us perspective, literally and figuratively. It redefined art, rebirthed science, and rewired how humans saw themselves. But beneath the clean statues and perfect proportions, it was weird, messy, superstitious, and, well, gloriously human. The thinkers we idolize weren't demigods. They were wine-sipping, astrology-reading, self-portrait-hiding nerds with fragile egos and wild ideas, and yet somehow their chaotic curiosity laid the foundation for the modern world. So, next time someone says Renaissance man like it means flawless genius, remember, the original Renaissance men were brilliant, but also a little unhinged. And that's the Renaissance, not just the age of enlightenment, but the age of WTF, a time when magic and math coexisted, artists feuded with popes, and everything smelled like clove-stuffed oranges and existential dread. So, if you ever feel like you're doing life wrong because you're messy, moody, and kind of obsessed with woodpeckers, congrats. You're doing it just like Leonardo da Vinci. This has been Infinitia Verity, where we dig up the weirdest truths from history's prettiest periods. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment your favorite Renaissance fun fact. Bonus points if it involves wine ghosts or banking fraud.